The heat is on, so gas up the boat and head out to your favorite fishing spot. Our guides say to throw topwaters early and then go deep with jigs or plastics. So get a cold drink, sit back, because we got all the info on where to go and what to use this week here on the Texas Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Thanks for being back with us on the Texas Insider Fishing Report. We're your hosts, Brie Gabrielle and Captain Rick Murphy, and we hope y'all had a fantastic Father's Day weekend catching them up. Rick, how was your weekend?
Well, we were actually filming a Sportsman's Adventure episode down in beautiful Florida Keys and Key West, fly fishing for tarpon, permit, and bonefish. And Brie, I want to announce that we were very successful. Caught a big permit and caught some tarpon and also some bonefish. So it's a wonderful show. Can't wait for everybody to see that next season.
That's
starting
exciting.
in January.
And Sunday, spend time with the fam?
Sunday, we kind of just chilled because
Nice.
we it was quite rainy during times on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so I just didn't really want to go out.
A relaxing
again.
Father's Day.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's check in with Dave Farrell, the CCA Workbench. Your kiddo was treating you good on Sunday, Dave?
Oh, yes. Yep. It was kind of like Easter for me. I got mostly candy, which is just what I needed.
Candy's good. Lots and lots.
Yeah.
Very healthy.
I didn't get any squid, though, which is what you're going to need to catch a big swordfish. That's what we're going to be talking about today.
Tricks and techniques.
Swordfish candy is what that is.
That's correct.
Okay, well, as we head into the last weekend of June already, we're starting out with Captain Bink Grimes in the Alvey Reels Middle Coast region, where inshore and offshore are looking pretty darn good once again. So, Bink, if you're ready, take us fishing.
I tell you what, it's been pretty impressive to see the number of big trout showing in our bays. It's a testament to conservation and a conscious effort of protecting our trophy trout stock. It's taboo. It's become taboo to bring a fish 5 pounds or better to the cleaning table, and there's a movement to release all trout over 20 inches or better. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I've been pushing it on my boat for a while. And it's catching on. We really want it. We've got something special here, and we really want to take care of it. In Palacios, the upper reaches of the bay, like Tres Palacios Bay and Karankawa Bay, have been good along the shorelines, holding shell. Guide Ray Sexton, he's been wading tight to those reefs and picking off solid trout in the morning. When the wind blows from the south, he's been hitting the south shoreline grass beds on the incoming tide. Then boaters, they've been working birds around Hotel and Palacios Point. Most have been undersized fish. Better fish that come around Half Moon Reef, Coon Island, and the barge. Guide Caleb Rush, he reported trout to 8 pounds in East Matagorda Bay this week. Lots of those big trout in the 7-pound range are caught and released while making long drifts over shell. Some of the better catches to come along the north shoreline on the incoming tide. And with the ICW a few casts away, those mud flats adjacent to the canal are great spots for big trout to fall on and off the shallows with the tide this time of year. Waders in East Bay, they've been using small topwaters like sheep ups to find fish on the mid-bay reefs like Half Moon, Long Reef, and Three Beacon Reef. Those plugs were crushed by many 5-pounders this week, and those wading with live bait also release fish up to 8 pounds. Early morning topwater action has been great in Port O'Connor. Later in the morning, those captains are been moving to chest-deep water and throwing Bass Assassins and Mirror Little Johns. And in the reefs in Bass Trout Bay, they've been holding good trout on live shrimp under cork. Jetty anglers have found trout tight to the rocks at the Freeport and Quintana jetties on live shrimp and mullet. Photo there, that's young Billy Ray Russell of El Campo. He's all smiles with that gorgeous trout he caught with us last week in East Matagorda Bay.
I like the hat, Bink.
Yeah. Well, let's go to redfish. Redfish action's been fair at best in the bays. Our anglers in Matagorda have had tough time getting on a solid pattern. Mainly because the tides have dumped. Sea drift guys have kind of been seeing the same thing. If you want big bull reds, the broken record every week. Those oversized reds are hanging out at the jetties. There's some monster reds at the Port O'Connor, Port Aransas, and Freeport jetties. Best on finger mullet or pogies. Slot reds, they've been slicking up in East Matagorda Bay on the west end. Our tides have fallen, so they've been falling off the shoreline and getting in about 4.5 foot of water. You see a little trash can size slick pop. You get behind it, man. Sometimes we've been having 3 and 4 reds on at a time down there. Inshore flounder, I tell you, our action's been good in the bayous and guts along the south shoreline of West Matagorda Bay, wading with live shrimp and shrimp imitation. Best action's been early in the morning as flounder pull up really shallow during the night. Giggers, they've been finding easy limits in Port O'Connor and West Matagorda Bay. Most of the fish have been off the points of shell line and wait to ambush those finger mullet and mud minnows. Muddy bottoms along Freeport and around the bayous close to San Luis Pass are also holding good numbers of flounder as well. The same holds true in Rockport. A lot of giggers there have been working the outside of Trailer Island for easy limit. Offshore, our triple tail action has been good. The offshore game has been kind of tough lately because, man, we have been seeing a lot of rough seas out there. Some running 4 to 6 foot. It's been tough to get out there, but when they're getting out there, those weed lines are holding large triple tail. And there are lots of Dorado also. You sight cast a triple tail or Dorado on those reed lines on light tackle. It's been really, really good. Then the red snapper, they're really, really good over rocks and wrecks in 40 to 80 foot of water. Like I said, people have been taking a beat going out there, but they're getting red snapper up to 15 pounds on sardines. Big water lately, it's just been really, really angry, but those pelagics are coming closer. Our water temperature out on the ocean is about 85 degrees, so those pelagic kingfish are coming closer to the jetties this time of year.
All right, thank you so much, Bink. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Alvey Middle Coast region. He says trout are good on the south shoreline of the West Matagorda Bay over the sand and the grass humps on bass assassins and sheep ups. And then the bull redfish are good in Port Aransas, Port O'Connor jetties on fresh menhaden. Bree?
All right, well, let's get our Startron Middle Fresh Region guide on the line to talk to us about the bite on Sam Rayburn. Startron.
All right.
Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend. I bet you had a wonderful first Father's Day, Matt.
I sure did, Bree. It was a fantastic day. Got to spend it with my little man. He's not quite old enough to go fishing yet, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But the fishing's been fantastic, so there's lots of good news. I'm going to start off talking about Toledo Bend bass fishing. The offshore bass bite has been really good over here at Toledo Bend. Our water temperature is up now, kind of hanging in the mid-80s. And the water level has been steadily falling, but it's now starting to stabilize. They're not pulling on it quite as hard through the dam. So the fish are really well set up in about 15 to 20 foot of water. And the crankbait bite is still great, but the worms are just as good. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch deal. If you prefer one or the other, they're both a good option. I just like to use them together, like that 1-2 punch, kind of get them fired up and then switch to the worm when they slow down. But as far as what to use, all the bass assassin worms are great. They're all getting bit right now. But as we get deeper into the summer, one of my favorites is that tap-out worm. I like to put it.
Did we lose you, Matt? All right, so what Matt basically said is he really likes the tap-out worm. You there, Matt?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, we lost you for a second. Tell us about the tap-out worm.
Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry.
So that tap-out worm, I like to put it on a fairly heavy, shaky head and just kind of drag it around, letting that tail stand up and work its magic. It's really kind of a finessey presentation, but since it's a big, full-size bait, it still attracts the big fish. Green pumpkin is a great color, but the reds and purples are really summertime staples, so don't forget about those in the coming weeks. And then as far as the crankbait, just stick to the shad colors. So I've got a photo here for you of my fellow guide, Mr. Dusty Anders, with a nice Toledo Bend bass, taking a selfie there. And Dusty's been catching some really high numbers lately, so if you want to get in on that, give us a call at Living the Dream Guide Service, and we'll get you set up with him. Now, moving over to Sam Rayburn, the water's falling, and it's kind of hanging in the low 80s. I'm still getting reports of a good topwater bite around the shallow vegetation in the wood, though. I mean, it just won't quit over there. I've heard reports of assorted topwater baits from frogs to walking plugs. So just kind of pick your confidence bait and go get it eaten. Regardless of which bait you choose, the early morning topwater bite is definitely something to take advantage of. But then once that sun gets up, you might consider pulling off to the closest break line. You don't have to get real deep, but just kind of the next drop off out from the topwater bite. And there you can drag a Texas rig, a Carolina rig, or dredge a crankbait around to kind of get them fired up. Now, talking about the crappie real quick, they're still biting extremely well at Toledo Bend. They're lighting the screens up on our Garmin units lately. We've been catching a bunch, just having a ball. We've had some incredible catches out in about 15 down to about 30 foot of water, and they're hanging around the timber. And I'm also hearing reports of catches on the bridge pilings, out around the deeper pilings now. Minnows have been the best, but I am still catching some on a jig as well. They just aren't quite as aggressive on it as they were last week, but they're still biting it good. The Panfish Assassin Pro Tiny Shad in electric chicken or in monkey milk have been the best for me. And I got another photo here for you of Mr. Jax Daigle with the crappie that got him really fired up. As you can see there, he was real excited. Love seeing those kids catching those big crappie. And we like to kind of train them on the crappie, and then we get them out there chasing those big bass later on. It's a lot of fun.
Love it.
Then on Sam Rayburn, they're also catching some crappie. They're catching a lot of them on that Highway 147 bridge. It produces a ton of them. So they're doing that out there. And I've heard they're still catching some shallow as well. There's just a lot of fish hanging shallow over there this year for whatever reason. They're loving that grass. So you can catch the bass and the crappie up shallow around that grass. So check that out. You can kind of throw a cork around with a minnow around that grass and catch them that way. Then lastly, the brim on Toledo Bend have begun to get a little deeper now. They're kind of, some of them are finishing up their annual nesting, and they're coming back out deep. They're almost a nuisance even at times when we're trying to catch the crappie. They're really starting to stack up on some of those deeper spots. But if you like to catch them, that's not all bad, because there's hundreds of them around some of that deep timber. And they kind of hang right above the crappie. So anywhere from just under the surface down to about 12 feet is best on those timber places, on those deep timber around those bridge pilings. Out there in about 15 to 30 foot of water, they just suspend up high. And crickets under a cork around those spots can really entertain the kids for hours. So if you want to get out there and get the young ones out there catching, this week's a great time to do it.
All right, bud. Thank you so much. It's time to take a look at the hot spots from the Startron Middle Fresh region. He says the bass are working their way further offshore on Toledo Bend, but Sam Rayburn has them still in the shallows. And then crappie are on fire in 15 to 30 feet on Toledo Bend. And the brim are right above them as well, Brie.
All right, coming up next on the Texas Insider Fishing Report, we're seeing what our future holds in the Fish Bites Upper Coast region. But first, we're getting some rigs and technique lessons over at the Workbench. Dave, we talking some candy over there?
Well, yeah, these are the disco lights.
Ooh.
Or earrings.
Or earrings.
Do these earrings make me look fat?
They'll make you look beautiful.
I think it's just the fat.
That's all that candy from
It's just
Father's
the
Day. We'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Casa Vieja Lodge. 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Garmin. Join the club. Sportsman's Adventures. Fishing for adventure. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish.
Reliability. Yamaha is known for it. And it's something boaters value, because these days, few things are built to last. When we find something that is, we hold on to friendships, traditions, outboards. Because every second on the water is sacred. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters choose Yamaha for the long run, for life. Because reliability starts here.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore. Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
For the Bay and beyond. Team up with the best and rule the Bay in a Skeeter. Proven with 19 consecutive NMMA Consumer Satisfaction Awards. And right now, through June 20th, you can save with summer sizzling rebates of up to $2,500. Versatility, control, performance, and design. Visit your local Skeeter dealer or online at SkeeterBoats.com. Skeeter, it's more than a boat, it's a lifestyle.
Have you ever felt your heart pounding while feeling the power of a tarpon in the Florida Keys? Or experienced the changing colors of a mahi as you bring it on board? Whether it's in the Bahamas, the Florida Keys, Guatemala, or the Florida Everglades, Murphy's Law Sports Fishing has the ability to guide you to the fish of a lifetime. To book your trip today, call 305-246-0673 or go to murphyslawsportfishing.com. Well, we're here at the Workbench, and Dave, you know, I'm not quite sure what I witnessed before we went to the commercial break. However, it does look like we got some things for Swordfish show.
Yeah, we're talking about Swordfish, and mainly because, you know, the Swordfish has a lot of mystique around him. You know, he's the gladiator of the sea, really hard to catch and everything. And in reality, he's pretty easy to catch, especially in Texas. It's one of the best and easiest places to go and catch him, because you don't have a whole lot of current offshore where these fish live in the deep water. And so that makes it a lot easier to fish for them in the daytime, because in the daytime, that's when they're all on the bottom. Now see, swordfish are one of those fish that make a big migration from the bottom up at nighttime. And that's how we've traditionally always caught them, at night. And because that gets them up in, you know, within 400 to 600 feet or sometimes 100 feet of the surface, because they're up there feeding on all the squid and stuff that makes that big benthic migration, they call it, from the bottom to the top every night. It happens. Millions of pounds of stuff comes up, and that's when the swordfish get in there and eat. They're very aggressive fish. They're the only bill fish, I personally believe, that use that bill as a weapon all the time. I mean, they use, if there's a big bait in front of them, they're going to slash it. If they feel threatened by anything, they're going to hit it with that bill. They use that bill as a weapon. It's very sharp on the sides, and they are very strong and can swing it, and they will. And Guy Harvey says it's the only fish he won't get in the water with, because he's had them come after him. And I've had a lot of marlin and sailfish that we've hooked up, make a big circle, and, you know, wind up getting in the boat or slamming into the boat. A swordfish is the only fish that I've ever hooked and actually had them attack the boat. We had one in Venezuela that we hooked about 300 pounds in 1,600 feet of water, and we caught him in like 6 minutes. He came straight to the surface, came up about 50 feet away from the boat, came down the side of the boat, whacking the boat, turned around, went 50 feet out, and came back. And we were waiting with the gaffs this time. And he whacked and got whacked. But then it was all pandemonium after that. But,
sounds like a day full of whacks.
Oh, it was a lot of whacking going on. But it was very strong fish, and they're really good, you know, really good to eat. And off Texas, you know, you got to go a little good ways, you know, 75, 100 miles, 200 miles sometimes, you know, you got to get to the water that's 1,000 feet deep. You know, anywhere to 1,000 to 2,000 feet deep, usually. It's about as deep as you want to be dropping, either with an electric reel or a manual reel. And in the daytime, you want to get all your stuff in the bottom. But I'm going to try to tell you how to catch one at night, because it's a lot easier. And you guys have to go out and do these long trips anyway when you're going off to the canyons and going offshore to hit tunas and blue marlins. You might as well sink a bait at night and catch a swordfish. And you can do it real easy. You know, if you buy you a couple of Baitmasters squid, either the trolling squid or that one's actually a swordfish bait. But here's a good reason why you want to buy them. Look at all the intricate little stitching that goes on.
Yeah, it's sewed on there.
They sew him onto the leader and sew his head on so he doesn't come apart. And that's a good size, that 10 to 12 inch squid. It's not so big that a fish is going to want to come in there and get his bill all in it. Hopefully he'll just come in and eat it. And it's on a 300-pound leader. That's just one that's not rigged. I just wanted to bring you and show one that doesn't have a rig in it. But you can go out and buy these. You don't have to, you don't have to get fancy. A big dead fish on a big 13-aught circle hook, a dead bonito will work, a dead hardtail. The swordfish may be the gladiator of the sea. He's definitely not the Einstein of the sea. He's not that smart.
He's like a catfish.
He's like a big catfish with a beak. So, just about any type of bait you can put on there will work. And if you get, if you run two baits, one at maybe 400 feet and one at 200 feet, and you fish out there all night on a good warm night on a thermocline, right before the moon, you will probably catch a swordfish, anywhere between, 60 inches to, 500 pounds, and, use a nice, you don't have to go crazy and use 400-pound leader. You can use 300 pound, you could use a 200 pound into a 500 pound bite leader or a 300-pound bite leader for your squids, which that's what it comes with. And you can use a 150-pound test for a nice shock. And I'd use that 80-pound braid on a 50 wide. You can hold so much 80-pound braid on a 50 wide, you will never run out. And you don't need a big 80. Bub? Well, you always want to put a light on. You can use a Siloom stick, or if you don't have these nice Linger LP lights, you can go to Linger and Pittman online. They supply all the guys who go out and swordfish commercially. So all those nice blinky lights, you want to put one about 30 or 40 feet away from your bait. Or just buy Siloom sticks, really cheap alternative, and put one in your balloon as well if you put a balloon on the surface. Just fish like a catfish in 400 feet of water.
All right, what do you think?
Just a big catfish. Well, Rick, this next captain, you actually caught a swordfish, right?
Absolutely. More than one. More
than one. All right, we're transitioning. The Fish Bites Upper Coast region has plenty to choose from inshore and offshore. So let's get Captain Carl Weston on the line to talk about some trout, black drum, kingfish, and some grouper action. Go for it, Carl.
Hey, guys. Hey, in the middle of June here in the Upper Coast, the trout bite is still remaining really strong. From Sabine Pass all the way down to West Galveston Bay. And a great live bait option all year has been a live shrimp on a popping cork. Personally, my artificial choice has been a 4-inch Bass's Fast shrimp on an 1/8 ounce jig head. And as I mentioned in previous reports this year, keep watching for the birds. These birds have been working over schools of bait fish all year, and this will get you a lot closer to the bigger schools of trout. Remember this little trick. Watch the direction of the bait fish and try to get out in front of them. Try to get quiet. This will allow you to set up, get ready to present your bait in the perfect position on these fish. Once again, these birds can help out in the direction of which the bait is going also. So there have been large schools of bait around the shell reefs in Galveston Bay, along the jetties, all the way up into Sabine Pass. So there's still a lot of big fish out there, folks. So try to get your favorite spot this week and get that rod bent up. And we've got a picture today with Shane with a really nice sized trout.
That's nice. Cool picture, dude. All right, tell us about what else you have inshore.
Well, the black drum bite seems to be in full swing as well. Now, these fish bite all winter long really strong, but this bite has stayed through the spring and into summer pretty good. There's big fish in the past 2 weeks I've seen pictures of. So when you're out hunting these fish, you should always try to find some deeper spots first. As the water temps are rising, these fish will move up into the flats at low tide and feed. So these fish will also be, you can find them along the beachfront, along the jetties, headed back to the Gulf. So larger baits will be the ticket with the black drum. We like to use a cut bull mullet, a half a blue crab works really well in the Upper Coast here. If you're fishing in the shallows and see a black drum rooting around feeding, I like to throw an unweighted rig, just a hook and about 3 foot of fluorocarbon leader on a cut crab or shrimp. I prefer the 30-pound diamond because these fish are easily spooked in these shallow water conditions. And here we have a picture of Mr. JT with a nice black drum today.
Cool. All right. So let's go offshore.
Moving offshore. All right, boss. I know it's been a few weeks in a row we've been talking kingfish. They've been up on the stage because they've been on fire. Starting out around 10 miles offshore in structure, these fish have been biting live bait, artificial bait. Slow trolling or drifting has been a great method, producing great action. The Gulf water temp here is between 82 and 84 degrees. So these pelagic fish are super active right now. They're chasing the bait fish all over. You'll see them blow up on top water, occasionally skyrocketing king. You'll see this is a daily sight in the Upper Coast. And like I've always said, as long as I fished, it never gets old seeing that happen. So as you're gearing up for kingfish, fishing, I like to use about a 90-pound wire or coated cable. We use a 90-pound wire because it's easy to do a haywire twist. It's easy to re-rig really quick if you need some. And if you do the haywire twist, like it gets snag free, it doesn't get your hands on there. So we twist up 2 of the 4X strong Eagle Claw trebles about 8 inches apart. one for the nose hook, one for the tail hook. The rig works great for live or dead baits. Once you get these kings in the boat, things can get messy. So make sure you keep your Starbright boat wash handy to rinse the blood before it stains your boat. And I think this is a picture of me with a messy kingfish on deck.
Yeah, I see that.
So deep dropping this week. We ran out deep this week and the bite was on too. Hitting the rocks in, say, 300 to 400 foot range really has been awesome for us. We've had some pretty good luck on some beautiful gag and scamp grouper. And then we picked up and ran out in the 600 foot range, hooked up on some yellowheads, a nice warsaw. Talking to some of the other captains, everyone has had good luck deep dropping as well. Leaving, say, 600 feet, we ran out to the hilltops in 14 to 1,700 feet of water. And we've been seeing nice catches of golden tile and barrelfish. All these deep water fish make for amazing table fare, as you know. Now, when I deep drop for golden tile or yellowhead grouper, I rig at least 2 rods with an R&R tackle deep drop rig. These are a 4 to 5 hook rig in 4 or 5, 8, and 10-aught hook size. They come with glow beads and glow skirts, and in my opinion, these rigs seem to outcatch anything else I've tried. We tip them with cut bait or live piggies, and then just sit back and get ready for that rod to bend and get your arm work out. So today, here's a picture with Andrew. I think it was about an 86-pound warsaw.
Nice. All right, bub. Good pictures, great report. It's time to take a look at the MirrOlure hotspots from the Upper Coast region. Inshore, black drum throwing cracked crab or shrimp in the shallows with a treble hook tied to 3 feet of 30-pound diamond mamoy. And then offshore, you might want to go grouper deep dropping in 400 to 700 feet of water on the structure with an R&R 5-hook deep drop rig that we just showed you, tipped with squid, large pinfish, or if you can't get any bait, you might want to try a piece of fish bites.
Get yourself a nice 80-pound bicep workout.
That's
with a
it.
Big grouper. Okay, Texas, get ready because we're getting our bass on in the upper and lower fresh regions next, so be ready to cast. And remember to keep up with everything fishing in Texas. Visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow and tag us and your photos on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube page, Captain Rick Murphy. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Contender Boats, always in the game. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Alvy Reels, a better way to fish. And Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Why is Casa Vieja Lodge on everyone's bucket list?
Left teaser. Left flat as well. 2 fish. They're everywhere. Right flat teaser as well. Left flat, right flat teaser.
Come to Casa Vieja Lodge and check it off your list.
Finding a shoreline is easy. Finding a sure thing is not. For over 20 years, anglers from Kitty Hawk to California and every shore in between have come to know one thing: that nothing says no to fish bites. So just stop with the fishing and get busy with the catching. Ask for Fish Bites or Fish Bites Fight Club lures or visit fishbites.com.
Today's power pole tip is about the emergency start feature that's built into the Charge. Now let me explain to how this works, guys. You know, we're fishing hard all day long, running our trolling motor, running obviously all of our electronics, live well pumps, and a variety of different other things. And unfortunately, we're not paying attention to how much voltage we're really using. So the one thing that the Charge does with this emergency start feature is it gives me peace of mind knowing that all I have to do is go into the Sea Monster app, click on the emergency start feature, and now it'll start drawing all of the amperage out of the trolling motor and putting it into the engine battery. So it'll allow me to replenish the engine battery so that when I turn the key, I have the necessary volts to get me home, which gives me that peace of mind. Now remember, on my way home, the Charge is going to be replenishing both the trolling motor battery as well as the cranking battery. So if you have any questions, go to powerpole.com, and that's today's Power Pole Tip of the Week.
All right, if you're fishing in the Upper Fresh region this weekend, Lake Fork and Caddo Lake will show you a good time. So let's get Johnny Geis on the line for more details. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, Brie.
Hello.
These old black bass, they're biting over on Caddo Lake. Caddo, it's one of the few natural lakes we have in Texas. It was formed by earthquakes back in the 1800s. Caddo's located in the far east Texas and consists of a sprawling maze of bayous and sloughs covering about 26,800 acres. Summertime fishing on Caddo is usually best very early in the mornings this time of year. Some days you have a good frog bite working along the heavy vegetation and lily pads. The topwater bite, it might last a little bit longer on the cloudy days, but usually you'll need to start using 6 to 8 inch worms or stick baits with about an 1/8 ounce slip sinker and a weightless bass assassin on a 4/0 eagle claw hook after that. So fish these soft plastics along the creek channels, edges of the vegetations around the cypress sloughs. Best colors are the watermelon, green pumpkin, and June bug. Also, a buzz bait or swim jig is productive when the bass want a moving bait. So after the early morning period, it's on to Texas rig worms and jig fishing time. Pitching or flipping cypress trees along those slightly deeper edges of sloughs and channels, which have some vegetation, is your best bet at that time. Get your bait as close as possible to the cypress trees, as the bass, boy, they lie in ambush along the cypress roots growing next to those big trees. Caddo Lake's over 1 foot high at this time and has some current moving on the upper ends. Feeding bass relate to the current, and they can school up on certain areas that have the current and edges of vegetation nearby. Guides Randy Deaver and Paul Keith, they usually work out of the Shady Glade Marina near Uncertain, Texas, and they can help you locate and catch some quality bass. There's also a Texas State Park nearby that offers the camping, the lodging, and many other outdoor activities. And Caddo Lake is a great place to visit and a unique fishing location. Take a road trip to this part of Texas and step back in time around Uncertain, Texas, and go fishing up on Caddo Lake. Here's a picture of some customers, a customer with a real nice bass, Caddo Lake bass, sent in by Randy Deaver. And the next picture I have is the other guy, Paul Keith. He shared a recent customer picture of some Caddo, 3 real nice bass this customer had. So they're biting up at Caddo. You need to get up there and try that out.
I'd say so.
I'd say that's pretty awesome stuff right there, Johnny. Keep going, bud.
Yeah, over here on Fork, I always got to cover the black bass on Fork. It continues to produce some impressive sized bass. The big bass are moving out to the deep structure areas, and more bass continue to gang up on this prime deep water areas, and many customers are catching their personal best, PBs we call it. The fishing's been real good, but still not quite fishing as good as it normally does this time of year. Some days we're catching quality and numbers of bass, and then the next day you go and you can't hardly get a bite for some reason. So you have to keep moving each day until you finally hit an area that holds the bass that are ready to bite. So timing's everything. The drop shot and the Carolina rigs are the best techniques to use for catching the unders, and I'll tell you about that. The green pumpkin and red bug are the best colors and the best depths, 20 to 26 foot deep. My customers are catching most of their personal best on live bluegills, so if you come to Lake Fork to fish tournaments, the best presentation again is a heavy drop shot.
This setup not only catches those under the slot fish under 16 inches, but they can also catch the big ones over the 24 inches as well. This week I had several customers catch their largest bass ever. Here's a picture of my sister, Mary Jo Gray, with her personal best she caught last Saturday. Weighed 9.38 pounds. Way to go, Mary Jo.
Congrats.
I love it. What else you got for us this week?
Next thing's, man, these Lake Fork crappie are just outstanding. Crappie fishing is going great right now, and it's pretty much how many do you want to catch. Another guy, buddy right here out of Lake Fork Marina is Terry Moon, and she's putting her customers on limits of big crappie almost every day. She finally got her Garmin, and she's got a lot of brush piles out there, and now she's picking off the very biggest crappie in the brush pile. Terry fishes out of a comfortable Skeeter Solero boat with the Yamaha show engine, and her customers are catching some big crappie almost every day. So Terry's got many, many brush piles. They're holding large schools of crappie. She's catching most of them on jigs tipped with minnows, and they're producing the largest one at this time. A lot of them over 2 pounds. Here's a picture of some nice crappie caught this week by some ladies, and next week we'll have a lot more pictures with ladies catching some big crappie. Hey, the summertime temperatures down around here are getting close to 100 degrees on some days, so be sure you're wearing a lot of sunscreen, drink lots of water. Very easy to get dehydrated out on the water. Rick, I'm installing a T-top on that new Skeeter SX210 bay boat, so my customers have some shade on these hot, scorching summer days and still keep on fishing. So y'all be safe out there, have fun, and let's go catch some big ones.
All right, thank you so much, Johnny. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the upper fresh region. He says Caddo Lake, the largemouth bass are good in the shallow waters near the trees and vegetations and 2 to 6 feet with plastic creatures, frogs, topwaters, and plastic worms. And then crappie are the best on minnows and bluegills, on crickets and the brush piles. And then Lake Fork, big crappie are biting good in 20 to 28 feet of water around the brush piles. Jigs tipped with minnows seems to work best, and the bass are biting best on red bug, shaky heads, and jigs on structure.
Dang, those crappie were huge.
They were.
So yummy. All right, let's jump into the lower fresh region where Matt Reed never bites off more than he can chew. So let's get to the reports on Lake Travis, Choke Canyon, Decker, LBJ, Falcon, and Amistad. Do what you do best, Matt.
All right, we got a mouthful this week, so we'll see what we can get done here.
Okay.
Start out at Choke Canyon with a bass first. Mike Bates sent me reports from there. The topwater fishing's still good early. It ends by 8:30 though, so you need to get on the water right at daylight to maximize that. After the sun gets up, get you a Texas rig or a Carolina rig soft plastic. Get on the outside grass line at 7 to 15 foot of water. One of the main things is he says you have to fish really slow right now to get them to bite, so don't get in a hurry. Also, some fish are beginning to show up punching heavy jigs and big heavy-weighted soft plastics through the hydrilla mats. Overall, he said numbers are down a little bit, but the size is up. So, good summer deal going on there at Choke. Brian Cotter sent me some reports out of the Austin area. Lake Travis is fishing really well. There's still schooling going on in the mornings, around the marinas and the deep coves. After that, you want to move out, deeper, get you a football jig or heavy Texas rig, get out on the rock ledges and humps in that 20 to 30 foot range, and that's your best shot to catch you a big one. Like Decker, the schooling in the discharge, there's a limited area, so you need to get there quick so you can get in and be part of the melee. If you miss out on that, there's a good frog bite, right around the cattails and reeds. That's going on to midday. After that, get you a 4-inch stick bait in that green pumpkin color, get on the grass lines, and move out a little deeper to continue to get bit. LBJ is really good at night right now, fishing under the green lights around the docks. So small swim bait and crankbaits through those lights to get a ton of action. You got a lot of food concentrated on those lights, so a lot of bites there. You can also throw a worm in the lily pads or around the bulkheads and docks. Down at Falcon, bass are doing their normal summer thing. Concentrate on the main lake rock with football jigs, crankbaits, and also you need to search out the man-made brush piles in that 12 to 20 foot of water and throw a Texas rig 10-inch worm in those. That's the best two patterns right now to catch you a pile of big ones in it on any day. Moving on up to Del Rio, Lake Amistad is dishing out a lot of numbers. A lot of fish in the shallow hydrilla early with a top water, swim jig, and Texas rig. Any of those will produce. Another pattern that's going strong, take you a drop shot or a jig on the rock bluff walls. You catch a lot of fish doing that, and there's a few big ones mixed in. Got a pick right there. That's one of Brian Cotter's customers with a big old Lake Travis fish from this week. So always fun to see a big old fish in your customer's hand.
Yeah, absolutely right. What else you got for us, bub?
Oh, let's roll. We got some crappie down at Falcon. They're biting really well still in the brush piles in that 15 to 20 foot range. You get you an 1/8 ounce jig. My favorite colors are red chartreuse, Junebo chartreuse, and monkey milk. And you can fill your live well up, just like that picture right there shows. So, crappie are just chewing down there. It seems like they're doing that all over Texas right now from everybody's reports.
I mean, I think Brie and I need to get on the next plane and come to Texas for a crappie fry. Tell us about the kitty cats.
We can do that. Catfish, we got Falcon water temperatures up in the 80s, and the catfish are shallow, the smaller, channel and blue cat, in that 1 to 3 foot of water around the hardwoods. Best bait's been shad or shrimp. The bigger cats are in that 20 to 35 foot range. We're in the channel, the river bends. The river's getting real low now, not much flow, so they're in the deep holes in the bends. Lake Amistad, channels and blue cats are biting really well. They're concentrated on the flats close to the creek channels. Dough bait or shrimp seems to be the best to catch tons of numbers. If you want a big blue cat, get out on the rock ledges and get you a big fresh cut gizzard shad, and you might catch you a big old 20 to 30, 40 pound blue. So that's lots of fun.
You're absolutely right. And
God.
Yeah, and you know what? Your report was fun. I appreciate all the effort this week, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the lower fresh region hot spots. He says Lake Travis is fishing really well. Early morning schooling bass will get your day started in a hurry, and then the topwater and small swim baits are the ticket. Later, then you're going to throw a football jig and a Texas rig on the deeper ledges to hopefully catch you a big one, Brie.
Well, Rick, here we are with one more region left to explore in the Garmin Lower Coast region, but I do know Dave Farrell has been exploring some new products, so let's see what kind of treasures he's found. Dave.
I've been exploring. These are two products you never want to have come in contact: a descending device and your underwear. Very sharp, very comfortable. They don't go together.
No, they don't. No, they don't. We'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a Miralure. Diamond Fishing Products. Our reputation is on the line. And Startron. Cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems.
At the pinnacle of super high output, 4-stroke outboard performance, you'll find Yamaha VMAX SHO, Yamaha's game-changing SHO technology. From exhilarating V6 models to the sleek inline 4s, there's a VMAX SHO for everything from bass to bonefish. It's an extended family of 4-strokes engineered for lightweight, inspiring performance, and rock-solid reliability. Discover VMAX SHO and elevate your expectations.
the only reel with over 100 years of heritage. Alvi reels are manufactured using the most reliable components. Alvi's state-of-the-art drag and retrieve rates are perfect for any fishing challenge. So whether it's a side cast or spinning reel, Alvi makes a reel that best fits your needs. Alvi reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the Alvi also comes with up to a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alvius.com.
You know, Dave, you really have me intrigued. We're talking about descending release tools and underpants in the same sentence.
Yes.
I really don't know where we're going with all of this. Then
we're going deep. We're going deep, brother. That's where we're going. First off, we're going to start with that backpack down there, H2O Express tackle backpack. You get that at the Academy store. It's really cool. It's got a really nice tool sleeve in the front where you can just slide your pliers or your knives or whatever you want to put in the front there. It's got an access pocket on the side bottom. On the other side, it's got there's 4 different boxes in there. It'll hold 4 3600 boxes or 2 3700 boxes. It comes with 2 of them. It's got a nice a rod carrying strap on the other side. If you unzip the little thing on the bottom, it's got 2 rod things and a little pouch on the bottom that the butt goes into.
The butt goes in here.
Yeah, exactly. A little pouch comes out. Actually.
Nice.
Yeah, look at that. See there?
Nice.
Yeah. So go to and when you're on the rocks or the jetty or even going to the surf, it's so great to have your arms free and you have everything on your back.
And waiting. I mean, how valuable would that be for waiting?
Exactly. So go to academy.com and find your H2O Express tackle backpack.
Yes, sir.
Next, this is I was telling you earlier. I'm not ashamed to admit this is probably my favorite Starbright product, the non-skid deck cleaner, because my little boat has a non-skid deck and it sits under an oak tree and dust and everything a lot, and getting anything out of a non-skid deck is a pain in the butt. But that stuff makes it like magic. I mean, it's a miracle.
Magic miracle.
It's a magic miracle. You wet that non-skid down real good with some just water, and then get some of this out and sprinkle it on, and then rub it in with a mitt and wash it off. You don't have to scrub. I mean, I've spent so many hours scrubbing when I didn't have to, and when I found that, I was so relieved. Now, after you've done that, you can get some non-skid deck wax from Starbright and just spray that on, and what it does is it puts a nice coating on there and brings it back to a luster. If you've had non-skid, it sits out in the sun, it gets all chalky and dusty. Well, this will bring all that back to original luster, but it'll also put a nice coating on there, but it's not slippery, which is amazing. It'll put a nice coating on there that'll protect it, but it really, really nice stuff. Starbright, get that. Next, these are some nice drawers from AFTCO. I call them drawers, underwear. These are the boxer briefs. They keep everything everywhere it's supposed to be. Their code name is Keep Your Tackle Dry, and you got the moisture wicking in there to do that. Those are fresh out of the pack. I hadn't wore those yet, I promise. They're anatomically designed for a comfort fit, antimicrobial. It's got the Afflex 4-way stretch stuff, so I need the 4-way stretch by a lot. And, fish away in the blue or the black, You don't want to wear the black too. Black is slimming, and you got to be careful with that. So.
Speak for yourself, Dave.
Exactly. Diamond fishing products here. We have, the NOA just made a new amendment to the snapper and grouper fishery management plan.
Where's the weight?
There's no weight. It doesn't come with a weight.
I know it doesn't.
Well, it's just you use a 4-pound weight on it. But anyway, it's a descending device, and what you do is to get a snapper or a grouper that you've caught, which you're going to have one of these on the boat by law, July 15th. In the Southeast Atlantic. If you're fishing for a snapper or a grouper, you have to have a descending device. No more of the punching a hole in them to let it's to cure barotrauma. So what happens when you pull a big snapper or grouper up, make sure you take the little...
this goes to the rod.
Correct. You put a rod or a rope, and then you put this through his upper jaw.
Coming through the gill like this.
No, not through the gill. It goes
from the back.
No, it goes through the jaw. It goes through the ping.
Okay.
See, like that goes right through the little membrane
Okay.
under his jaw, and then you put a weight on here, like a 4-pound weight, and you toss him out, and you use a big weight like that to get him down real quick, and
Right.
that cures that barotrauma. It shrinks down his swim bladder, and when you get him all the way to the bottom, you just stop and give it a little pull,
then when you reel,
and he'll come right off.
Comes right off.
He'll come right off. So,
Good
and
job.
it'll make him live. They're got like 100%, almost nearly 100% survival rate when you use
That's
one of these.
awesome. And who is this? Diamond?
Diamondfishing.com.
All right, Brie.
Those were some bazingas over there, Dave.
Yes, sir.
All right, the Garmin Lower Coast region has your trouts, reds, dorado, and red snapper for the weekend, and I just don't know if it could get any more perfect than that. So let's get our last captain on the line, Chad Kinney, to help us capitalize on those catches. Hey, Chad.
Hey, glad to be here. The fishing's been really, really good this weekend. We got some weather coming up here, but I'm going to teach you how to use that to your advantage in this report real quick. So, in the inshore starting out there, we're going to talk about the land cut. So you can reach out from Corpus Christi, head on south, from Mansfield, from here, head up north, hit the land cut. There's been some trout and redfish action up in there. Even with those higher winds, like I said, they're going to be coming. You'll be protected up there, which the watercolor will be a lot better. Bait will be moving in there, and you'll have a lot better action if you head that way. So starting out with the trout fishing, it's remaining good all along the lower coast. Like I said, with these higher winds, I'd definitely go up there with the low winds if it's working, but the higher winds definitely go up in that land cut. Work the edges of the grass lines. Also get those guts that come off the ICW. The ICW is the intercoastal waterway. You'll see that, marked by the green, red markers there, the buoys and stuff. So right on the edge there, there's some grass pocket stuff that'll fall off. Work those edges. Gladys Hole also, that's at the very south end of the land cut there, north end from Mansfield. It's been really good for wade fishing up in there, up towards the back west shoreline there. Also 9 Mile Hole's been really good up on the northern end of that stuff. Try Freeline and Croaker's been working really good off those edges and guts. And also definitely use some saltwater assassins. We're using some 5-inch shad rigged with an 1/8-ounce jig head. I've been using the magic grass and the chartreuse woodpecker and the color. Been working really good. And along the banks of those ICWs, look for bait moving and try the She-Dog mirror lure topwater for some possible big trout that are going to be laying in the grass and those little sand pockets up there in that skinnier water. Got a good picture of a good trout here released by Captain Charlie Buchan. One of his guys out here out of Mansfield caught him up in the land cut. Moving redfish here. They're also up in the cut there. Like I said, you can try wade fishing. Glasses Hole right there. Saltwater Assassin, 4-inch Elite. Shiner rig like that with the paddle tail, move a little bit faster for those redfish. With an 1/8-ounce jig head also. Also along the ICW, look around the banks for bait. Try Top Dog Juniors, Mirror Lure. Pink's been always a good color to go to. And if you're using bait and you want to get, just tie some time, probably get some cut mullet on the bottom. Menhaden also working good. Do that on the deeper drop-offs and guts along the ICW. Got a good photo here of Mary Beth Snyder. She got a good redfish, but she also got her husband brought her an Alvy reel, so she got an Alvy reel in that picture, and she's not going to give it up anymore. She said she just loves it.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Moving to offshore snapper fishing. Can talk about that. Still remains really good. The blue water is out deep past the canyon. It kind of moved back a little bit towards Mexico, but it's going to start pushing back up. And Colt, it's still all around there also, but it's going to start making its way back up from Mexico onto our continental shelf. And I'll keep you posted when it gets there, and it'll be really good. Snapper fishing's open in federal waters. We've been talking about that for a while, so definitely get out there where you can. There's lots of numbers of fish, good sizes to them. Look for any of your favorite structure, wrecks, oil rigs. Definitely take a look at your sonar. Use that with your Garmin GPS. That's where you can find some of those bigger fish suspended. So definitely drop an Eagle Claw Trocar. We've been using those. Go to a 1 to 3 ounce pretty much, and then tip it with some bait. Find those in the middle of the water column. Once you find the suspended fish, just keep working that depth. And I've been using that tied to a 130 to 150 pound fluorocarbon mamoy, and that just keeps the abrasion off, and you can get a wrap with the hand and land that fish real easy like that. Good thing also when those fish are up higher in the water column, Dave was talking about releasing them. I'll fish 150, 200 feet, and sometimes we'll get them up 30 feet below the boat. So, you're in good shape and they don't embolize. So it's a good thing. And remember, when fish in federal waters are 16-inch minimum, 2 per person, there's plenty of fish out there. You guys can make 1 drift probably, get all your groceries you want, and head on back. Got a picture of one of our guys here a couple days ago. Daryl Sims got a nice red snapper out there in the deeper water.
All right, tell me about the Dorados quickly.
Dorado, been thick, not real thick, but there's been some showing up. Rips, of course, any blue water you find. Hit 5 lines out there. We've been pulling some junior islanders, so the blues and whites, pinks and whites work really good. And also the black hole islander, which lets that water pass through it, creating a bubble trail. Sometimes you got to downsize these lures to that size. If you're looking really for the Dorado, I think you get better hook bites and a lot more bites and fish setting up through there. Trolleys at 7 to 8 knots, keep an eye out for bait and debris and stuff like that. And the blue water, like I said, will be coming in. A lot more action coming up in the next couple of months. And got a picture of a good Dorado here by Saltwalker out of South Padre Island.
Pretty.
Ah, nice, Chad. So I got a quick question for you. What do you think this weather is going to do offshore? You guys going to be able to go or no?
Actually, I think this weekend's going to be kind of blowing out, but the good thing is, I think for 4th of July, after this stuff normally blows through, we get a 3-4 day good window. So I think after this, it's going to be really gets me on fire.
All right, well, I appreciate your report. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the shallow sport hotspots from the lower coast region. He says inshore, the land cut has been good on trout and redfish along the grass lines and the drop-offs of the ICW. And then offshore, snapper fishing's been excellent with pelagic showing up out in the deeper around all those bait balls.
All right, well, there you have it. It was an excellent show, gentlemen.
Thank you for the accent.
You're welcome. Bring it in some point during the season, you know what I mean? All right, guys, make sure you go to our YouTube and subscribe because every week we are dropping new videos, behind the scenes of Sportsman Adventures with Brie and our media people.
All the guys.
All the good stuff. Every week we've got new things. We do. I am doing one with Dave.
Yeah.
We're going bass fishing in August.
We're going to catch a big one on a shiner.
Big one.
Nice.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Catch them up.
Bye, guys.
Have a good weekend. See ya.